guys, and welcome back to For I Have Sinned. My name is Jess,
And this is Lauren.
and we're back with another 15-minute murder. And just want to say thank you to all who are watching and all who are listening. Um, Still getting the hang of this YouTube thing, but we're kind of digging it. So
We're trying a new background this week.
yeah,
Let us know what you think. I don't know. I don't hate it actually. Love this graphics that Danielle made for us.
yeah, it's really cool. Also, I wanted to say sorry for getting last week's episode up a little late. I ended up, I roller skate for those who don't know, and I fell pretty hard and possibly might have a fracture in my arm. So for like a couple of days, I was definitely out of commission.
Yeah, I felt so bad. Poor
My arm the
thing.
next day from like under my shoulder to my fingers was swollen.
Oh God.
It sucked and it still hurts, but all right. Well, Lauren goes first this week.
Yeah. So this is, of course, a recent case. It happened Friday, July 17th, so last week. Um, it happened at a really, really tiny rural area of Central Florida. It's a town called Frostproof, which is near. Are you familiar with like Winter Haven area? So it's
That's
like
not
it.
far.
Yeah, I've driven through there many times. It's the middle of fucking nowhere. It's not too far from Sebring, which is where Casey Anthony's from, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so it's the middle of fucking nowhere, and like that's the way that we used to always take when we would go to Disney, and you like will see some shit out that way. There's some if you're out that way at night, it's pretty fucking sketchy. Like it's very very dark. It's desolate. It's just
Like backwoods.
extremely backwoods. And being from Long Island, like I'm not about that life. So it's a super super rural area. Um, it is three friends, a man named Brandon Rollins, who was 27, a man named Kevin Springfield, who was 30, and Damian Tillman, who was 23. They've been friends pretty much their whole lives. They would go fishing all the time. That was their thing. They're true Florida boys. Like, that's what they do. They fish all the time. So they were going out to a lake in Frostproof. I guess Kevin and Damien drove together in Kevin's truck, and then Brandon drove in his own truck and was going to meet up with, they were going to meet up with each other there. And where they were, totally desolate, like dirt road near a lake, whatever. Before Damien got to the lake, he stopped at a Dollar General and he bought some stuff. And small town like that, he's talking to the clerk in the Dollar General saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to meet up with Kevin, we're going to go fishing, blah blah blah, whatever. Little did he know that the person online behind him in the Dollar General was this dude named Tony or TJ Wiggins. And I guess he apparently had some sort of issue with Kevin, the guy that was riding with Damien.
Okay.
So, yeah. Um, he Damien, leaves the store, whatever, doesn't realize this TJ guy, his brother Robert, and his girlfriend Mary all followed him out and gets in the truck. They meet up with Brandon at the lake, and there's another truck behind them. So he turns around and he's like, what's going on? And TJ, the guy that followed them, is like, where's Kevin? I heard you say that you were with Kevin. And he's like, Kevin's in the truck. And he goes over to Kevin and is like, oh, you stole my truck engine. And Kevin's like, I don't know anything about this. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you don't fucking lie to me. You stole the engine to my truck, which it's not I mean, I don't know if you've ever like seen an engine outside of an
Yeah.
automobile, but it is like, that's not an easy thing to just up and steal. So
No.
he's like saying some shit. You stole my truck, stole my truck, whatever. He has a pistol, starts shooting. He shoots Kevin in the truck, shoots Damien in the truck, and then their friend who was waiting for them there, Brandon, is like, what the fuck is going on? He gets shot. Supposedly the other two people, that's his brother Robert and his girlfriend Mary, never got out of his truck. They were not involved, supposedly. Um, I guess
I
Brandon,
heard the dogs.
did you hear him shake his ears? I know he's so annoying. Floppy eared fuck. So sorry guys, my dogs are being wild. So Brandon doesn't call 911. He calls his father. And he's like, Dad, I need help. I need help, whatever. So his dad gets there. His dad is in such a panic that he leaves his own cell phone at home. He drives there. And I don't know how close they lived, but I assume it was close because he got there within minutes. Brandon's still alive, and he says, like, his dad hasn't said what it was, but he told him, like, his dying words, and, like, is literally dying in his father's arms. His
Oh my
dad,
God.
yeah, his dad doesn't have his phone, so he walks to a gas station, like the closest place he can find, and I guess, and now mind you, it's like almost 11 o'clock at night when the the dad got the phone call at 10:56 p.m. So it's dark. It's the middle of fucking nowhere. It's summertime, so it's swampy as fuck. There's bugs everywhere. Like, this is probably miserable. And then he doesn't have his phone. It's insane. So I guess him and somebody that worked at the gas station went back, and by the time he got back, all three were dead.
Oh,
Um, yeah, the cops actually had initially didn't know who to even suspect or why. But they found the Dollar General bag that was in Damien's truck, the one guy that was at the store first. And then they went to Dollar General. They showed them the footage. He saw all of this stuff, and apparently this TJ guy, he is 26 years old and has had over 230 felony charges in his life. Now,
what?
those are not convictions; those are just felony charges. But he's been charged 230 felonies. So he's a bad dude. Yeah. The um, Sheriff Judd said that they received numerous tips after this happened because it was a really, really big deal. It's a very small town, so of course it was like they are just completely shaken up by it. And he was like, I can't tell you how many tips we got saying you should look into TJ Wiggins. He's a bad dude, and this is probably somehow tied to him. Like, they didn't even know anything about what happened, but they were like, we have a feeling it was TJ Wiggins. And then apparently Brandon, the guy who called his dad when he, after they got attacked, his girlfriend Jessica said that they actually did know of the Wiggins brothers, TJ and Robert. The mom of Brandon, also knew them, and she said TJ was always bad news. He was always just had issues, whatever. Um, so I guess what ended up happening was TJ, Robert, and Mary were all taken in for questioning. They all lied. None of their stories matched up. According to the sheriff, the only thing that they all agreed on with their alibis was that they went to McDonald's and ordered 10 double cheeseburgers and 2 McChickens. That was the only aspect of their stories that matched up, which is a really odd detail, but okay. um,
That's
when
so
they,
weird.
yeah, that was like the only thing in their story that they can get straight. And apparently, according to Brandon's girlfriend Jessica, she said that they were all like really heavily into drugs, so maybe they were high out of their minds. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Um, Apparently, when investigators went to TJ's trailer, now mind you, they're living in a trailer off the grid. So they have no running water. Their electricity is powered by generators. Like, they live in the middle of fucking nowhere, dude, swamplands in a trailer off the grid. So they go, they find 2 shotguns and 2 rifles in TJ's trailer, and they also find one single 9mm shell casing. So that's a spent bullet. That's like
Yeah.
you shoot a bullet, the casing comes out. So why would he have a spent casing just laying around for a 9mm firearm? That shotgun doesn't fire 9mm. You know what I mean? Like the two guns. I'm sorry, the 4 guns that they found don't shoot that type of ammo. So they were like, something ain't right here. And I guess what had happened was they found shell casings at the lake, and they ran ballistics on it. It was shot out of a Smith & Wesson handgun, and those casings from the crime scene matched the casing found in his trailer. And Mary also admitted that she was with TJ when he bought 9mm ammo on July 9th. So it's kind of like all adding up. It's just crazy. So they were booked. 26-year-old Tony TJ Wiggins, charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. He is being held with no bond. And I'm assuming that's because of his criminal past. He actually
Yeah.
was, he had the 230 felony charges. He was arrested for the first time when he was 12 years old. And he actually had 15 convictions and had been to state prison twice already by the age of 26. And at this time of the murders, he was actually out on bond for another crime of breaking a man's arm with a crowbar during a fight.
Jesus.
Yeah. So he's no bond. Mary Whitmore, the girlfriend, is being held on $45,000 bond, and his brother Robert Wiggins is being held on $46,000 bond. And before all of this, Mary had no criminal history, and Robert, his brother, only had 1 misdemeanor charge. So they were not as used to being in the system as TJ. Like they
Yeah.
didn't have that type of criminal record that he did.
Right.
So that's all I have for now. As more comes out, I'll. So oddly enough, we were going to record last night and you weren't feeling well, so we pushed it off until tonight. Uh, as of last night, they did not have any suspects. They were actually offering a $30,000 reward for any leads in the case. And then this story of them finding these 3 broke around noon today. So it kind of worked out that we pushed off recording because I was able to get a lot more information.
Yeah.
The sheriff did like a like a, what do they call that when they go on television? Oh God.
Oh, press conference.
Yes, thank you. It's like that time when I forgot what a window curtain was called. On the spot. Yes, he did a press conference, and I watched it. It was like almost 40 minutes long, and there was just a ton of information. So it kind of worked out, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good
as
thing
I
for
get,
my migraine.
yes, thank you, migraine. As I get more information, obviously we'll do an update.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So mine, I actually know this case very, very well because it was on Long Island.
Okay.
And I don't know if you would have heard of this though. So this happened in East Northport. And, I'm from Northport, but my grandma lived in East Northport from before I was born. And, I was always at her house after school, like she'd pick me up from school, whatever. So I have my notes just in case I forget stuff. So this is about a girl named Kristen Scarabelli. She was born June 12th, 1979 on Long Island. And there's really nothing about her childhood. Um, so she was a 16-year-old who lived in East Northport. I said that already. I'm sorry. And she went to John Glenn High School, and she was a cheerleader. Um, but I remember hearing, now this isn't fact, but I do remember hearing that like she started hanging out with kind of like, not a great scene.
Okay.
Um, Whatever, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So on May 14th, 1996, which was Mother's Day, um, her parents had been away on vacation, I think with her brother or brothers, um, but they were due back that night, Mother's Day night. So Kristen had been out with friends from work, and then she hung out at home for a while. Later that night, her parents came home and they found that Kristen wasn't there. So they thought that, she probably stayed at her friend's house. It was
Sure.
also Mother's Day is on a Sunday, right? Yeah. So they assumed that she slept at her friend's house. Um, but the next day, the high school called her parents and they were like, Kristen didn't show up for school and she didn't call in sick. Whatever. We're checking to see if everything is okay.
Yeah.
So they called the police. I'm sure after, checking with all her friends. Um, and then there was a search for a couple of days, and they ended up finding her body about 3 or 4 houses away from her house, and she
Okay.
was under. So I actually remember this house. Um, there was like this big tree in front of the house, and there were bushes like in a circle around the tree. So she was
Okay.
fine. She was found in those bushes. Um, Now, her next door neighbor, Stephen Manolis, was immediately suspected. He was mentally ill, he was perverted, and he would watch her through their fence for years.
Oh.
Um, but they had no evidence. Um, they also suspected another high school student, James Mayer, uh, who who didn't like Kristen because he felt that she drove his girlfriend away. So he had said in front of people that he wanted to rape and kill her one day.
Oh God.
Yeah. Police ended up dropping him as a suspect. I believe he had an alibi. Not too sure about that, but if
Okay.
I remember correctly. So now, years later, oh, by the way, I was 12, so I was in sixth grade, and I
Okay.
remember my grandma picked me up from school, and we were driving home, and the road that she lived on, by the way, if like the road that she lived on was technically only like 4 houses away from my grandma's house, but it was like if you turn the corner.
Okay.
So, 4 or 5 houses. So we had to take that road usually to get home, but
Sure.
everything was all blocked off. Like half the block was, you know, police cars, um, news trucks, um, and on the corner of the road, there was like a group of high school kids. And we were like, what the heck is going on? And my grandma rolled down the window and she was like, hey, do you kids know like what's going on here? And I guess it was one of Kristen's friends. She started like cursing out my grandma.
Oh
Like,
God.
yeah,
And
it
you
was
were in the car
crazy.
with her?
Yeah, yeah. I was like 12.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, like she was like, "Get the fuck out of here. It's none of your business." And like all her friends were like, "Relax, relax, relax." And I remember my grandma saying something like nice parents you have or something like that.
You kiss your mother with that mouth? I can literally picture it. I
I
really
know.
can. Oh gosh.
So I was all like, "Oh my God." So
Yeah.
then we got back to the house and my grandma's cleaning lady's husband was a cop, and so she kind of like found out some of this information um, through her. But anyway, so also when I got a little bit older, like maybe eighth grade, um, I would hang out with Kristen's next door neighbors, a brother and a sister, and I was at their house like all the time.
Okay.
Um, and she used to babysit for them.
Oh, so
Um,
they knew her.
Oh yeah, they knew her.
Wow.
So now cut to it's like I think it's 2000 or 2001. No, I think it's 2000. So I'm a senior in high school, and a, this is such a weird twist. There was a man from Georgia named Anton Sholinsky, and he was recorded on video saying that he should be considered the prime suspect, but he couldn't remember anything about the crime and said he suffered from alcohol induced blackouts and had a lot of rage. And at the time, he lived about a half mile from Kristen's house. So that was like just a random thing. Like this guy came, in Georgia, just
In
like,
Georgia.
yeah. I mean, at the time when it happened, I guess he was there, but it's
Yeah.
just weird.
Weird.
So in 2001, police arrested the next door neighbor, Stephen Manolis, after advanced DNA testing developed. And he was linked by a single button and thread found on the Scarabelli's front lawn. And
Wow.
yeah. Um, and so now, like I said, he had been a suspect. Like they always suspected him. So they kind of would, try and watch him, stuff like that. And the police actually trapped him by installing like a tiny red, like blinking light in a box, in like a little box that was on a pole in front of his house. And he comes out of the house, thinking that it was just like a surveillance thing
Yeah.
because he had caught the police actually trying to watch him like on several occasions. So he comes outside of the house with a pole and starts like attacking this little box.
Yeah.
And so then, as this is going on, the SWAT team officers converged and tackle him.
Oh
And
shit.
he tries attacking them with the pole, and he's hitting, kicking, and biting. Like, yeah.
Just
So
racking up them charges.
yeah. And then I remember I was searching for this, but I remember when I was in high school, my friend brought the newspaper to school because he had lived kind of nearby too and knew about that. And he was like, yo, that dude was arrested, the next door neighbor. And so apparently, like when they were arresting him, he was saying, like, I'm not Stephen Manolis. My name is, if I remember correctly, he said his name was Kyle Sterling. And it was just like a weird thing.
Yeah.
So at the trial, Anton Shalinsky's confession, this is the guy from that lives in Georgia,
Okay.
it was played but never taken seriously. Like it just, I mean, I didn't hear it or anything or read it, any of it, but it just sounded ridiculous.
Okay.
Um, but now, according to witnesses, Kristen was so terrified of her next door neighbor that she kept an ice pick within reach of her bed because he was always spying on her.
Oh.
Yeah. Kristen's friend, Cara Pipia Busto, said that whenever she was at the Scarabelli's house, she would she would witness him peering between curtains and watching, and she also saw him like prowling around in their backyard.
Oh God.
Yeah. And when Cara and Kristen's other friends would see him, they would like verbally assault him, accost him, whatever. And so yeah, they'd be like, you're a sick fuck, stop, leave Kristen alone, whatever.
Yeah, they would tell
And
him off.
yeah, and she would like always tell them, please stop, please stop. Like she was so scared of him.
Wow.
So he was found guilty and sentenced with 25 years to life for strangling and then dragging her body through backyards before hiding her in those bushes. And it was reported that before the trial started, he entered the courtroom with his pants undone. And, he, but by the way, this is another thing I couldn't find a picture of him. He looks like Buffalo Bill.
Oh wow.
Like that's what he looks like. It was like long, stringy hair, but like
Yeah.
balding.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, three neighbors heard Kristen scream in the middle of the night, including one of my friends that lived
Oh.
next door. But he was only 12, so he just was kind of like, I don't know. And I don't know who the other neighbors were.
Yeah.
But I mean, that kind of reminds me of like the Kitty Genovese thing in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so now yeah, I couldn't, there's not a lot of information on this. Like I was searching and searching and searching. There's like little articles here and there,
Sure.
but I couldn't find the article I was looking for that like had his picture and said the thing about him talking about how he was a guy named Kyle Sterling.
Yeah.
But now this is what's really creepy. So like he, so now let's see. So there's 5 years from the killing to when they arrest him.
Yeah. How old
And
was he?
I believe he was like 43 when he was
Okay. Okay.
arrested. So now maybe about a year before he got arrested, I remember it was like summer going into my senior year, and I I for a while I kind of like lived at my grandparents' house, and I had a boyfriend who was a little older, and my grandparents were just like awesome, and they didn't give me a curfew or anything.
Yeah.
So I remember this one time we were driving home from wherever we were at, and there's this guy riding his bike, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a guy riding his bike, like turning off my grandparents' street, and he's only wearing boxer shorts, like not even shoes
Whoa.
or socks. And as we were turning, he was like hitting the corner too. And he kind of just like stopped and like stared, like was just kind of like, and I was like, what the fuck? Like that guy's creepy as hell. And it was him.
No
Yeah.
way. I
And
wonder
that
if he
was,
was like at her house, like in her backyard, creeping around in his fucking underwear or something.
well, then I remember also reading that like he would only really come out at night.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, and this was after she was murdered.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Stupid.
So, um, so yeah, so he would like only come out at night, and that's the only time I've ever seen him. And like I had
Wow.
been to, my friend's house that lived on the other side of Kristen
Yeah.
so many times.
Yeah.
And then he lived obviously the next door neighbor on the other side. And I used to walk up and down that block all the time with my friends, never once saw him. And then this one night we were driving home and I was just like, "Oh my God, that guy's so creepy. Who the hell is
Yeah.
that?"
In his underwear. Like, what
Yes.
the fuck? Makes me
Like
wonder if maybe he found somebody else that he was like stalking and he was prowling around or whatever, but
maybe, I don't know.
it's weird, man.
Yeah, like he just also what was it was really creepy because um another block that was right by my grandparents' house, um next to this one house, they lived like in this really nice area in East Northport, and there was this one house that had like a family like cemetery, like family like grave site.
Oh, on like in their yard?
Just kind of. It was like the house, and then there was like trees, and then there was like this concrete wall, and you could just like walk up and go in between, and it was like graves.
Weird.
And we used to go in there all the time and like smoke pot and stuff like
Yeah, of
that,
course.
you know? And, I wonder if he would like hang out in there or something like
Yeah.
that.
Who the
And I
fuck?
never thought of that until just now. But yeah, but apparently he would only come out at night. I mean, I guess he was, I don't know, I mean, he was obviously mentally ill. I don't know to what extent,
Had some
but
sort of problems.
yeah. But I when my friend brought the newspaper article to school and I saw the picture, I was like, "Oh, that's the guy that I saw."
My
Like,
God, you knew right away.
yes, because
Wow.
when we were turning, like the lights were right on him, and he
Okay.
stopped and like looked at the car.
So
And I was
creepy.
like, yeah, and I even remember feeling really creeped out. And like when we
Yeah.
got into my into the driveway, I was like, make sure that guy's gone to my boyfriend.
Oh,
And he
wow.
was. But I just felt really like creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't want to get out of the car if this guy's
No,
still lingering with in his fucking underwear. Like,
no. But I'm
wow.
not kidding you. He looks like Buffalo Bill, and this is so random. It's like a mix of Buffalo Bill. And do you remember when we were kids, Dennis the Menace, the movie,
Yeah.
and Christopher Lloyd was like the thief?
Yeah.
It was like a mix of, and you remember how creepy he looked in that movie?
Yes.
So he looked like a mix of like Buffalo Bill and Christopher Lloyd in Dennis the Menace.
God. Just
It,
like doubling down on the creepy factor.
yes, like it was, and I'll never forget. like seeing him, I keep saying like, we were talking about that the other day. But I'll never forget seeing him and just getting like a weird feeling,
Yeah.
like a creepy feeling, and
Oh
just being,
yeah.
and I remember saying to my boyfriend, like, Charlie, make sure that guy's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You
yeah,
had like a gut instinct about it.
yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. It was creepy. And I mean, I can't believe it was like literally 4 or 5 houses. It was like a 3-minute walk,
That's so
you know?
scary. Yeah,
Yeah,
to imagine that that happened literally right near where you were all the time.
yeah, yeah. It
Wow.
was, the whole thing was crazy. And I remember also like, I was 12 when it happened, and I was so freaked out after my grandma had talked to her cleaning lady, and I guess like she got a little more information than they put out in the newspaper.
Okay.
So I was kind of like listening. My grandma didn't tell me, but I was kind of listening. I think I actually might have even picked up the phone and like snuck to listen. But I remember just being so freaked out.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah, but
Holy
yeah.
shit. And the to me, like, what is the most just I don't know what it's just a real bold fucking move to just dump her body on somebody's front lawn.
Hmm.
Like that
And
to
they
me,
only found her because of it was police canines.
that's so weird.
Yeah. Hmm.
So if they didn't do that canine search, they might not have even found her for a while.
I mean, I don't think they would have found her as quick as they did because I think it
Wow.
was only like maybe a day or two later
Wow.
that they found her.
That's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
and then being that it took them so long to actually figure out that it was him because they
Mhm.
didn't have any evidence. I mean, you can't charge someone if you don't have anything to base your charges off of. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Mhm. And like Kristen's parents still lived there. Like when I was, let's see, when did my grandparents move from that house? I was probably 19. And but then and then I had gone, I'd still every once in a while go back and hang out with my friends that lived next door, like I guess into my early 20s. And her parents still lived there. And I'm
Wow.
not positive, but I think that the killer's parents might have still lived next door too.
Oh, damn.
Not positive about that, but I just feel like I heard that.
Yeah. Like they all
So,
still just stayed in the same neighborhood even after all
yeah.
that shit went down. That's fucking wild.
Yeah. And then the house that they found her at, they got rid of that tree and those bushes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't
But
blame them.
no, I know. And then every time I would pass, which was basically every day, every time I would pass by there, I would always be like, get creeped out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You
So,
just figure this like suburban neighborhood, and then there's just a dead body in the middle of somebody's front
yeah.
lawn. Like
Yeah.
that's
And it
insane.
really was such like just like a chill, nothing ever happens neighborhood. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know if you know where John Glenn is. It's considered like Elwood, which is
Yes.
in East Northport. So
Yeah.
it's not big at all. Like the high school is very small.
Yeah.
I used to hang out with a lot of people from the high school, and because so many of them lived by my grandma's house. So like, I'd be out when I was a kid, and then like as I got older, if I'd take walks around the block, and I would meet all these people that went to John Glenn,
Yeah.
and it's just such like a quiet, nothing ever happens town, you
Yep.
know? So, yeah.
That it actually is kind of similar to like the town where my case was also. It was like a super small, quiet town, and that's exactly how the sheriff even described it. He's like, it's we have really low crime rates. He's like,
Yeah.
but this entire and I'm sure it was the same with Northport. Like the whole entire town is rocked by it. They're
Hmm.
just like, what? You
Hmm.
can't believe that that's happening in your own town
Yeah.
when you.
And I mean, there's Northport, which is where I'm from, but then East Northport, and not even East Northport, Elwood, which is in East Northport,
Okay.
is so small.
Okay.
Like, so small.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, the high school probably, I mean, I'm not gonna try and guess numbers, but I remember my friends that were my age. I remember my friend telling me that her graduating class was like a ridiculously low number.
Yeah, like a
You
hundred
know,
students or something.
I mean, it was more than that, but I don't think it. I mean, I'm sure it was less than like 300 students,
Yeah.
or even
Yeah.
maybe even 200 students.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is really small. Like the high school that I graduated from, I was one of 1,300.
Yeah, my Northport's big too, because
Yeah.
then you had part of Northport, Fort Salonga, Northport, and then like on the cusp of like Centerport.
Okay.
And yeah, my school was big, and but this school was, and I remember going being in that school. Also, when I was a kid, I think we no, that was at Northport. I remember going in the school a couple of times because my like whenever they had the talent show, my friend's band would play. So like I would go, and the school itself was so small for a high
Yeah.
school, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, it was just so creepy. Just I
Yeah.
remember when I first saw his picture in the newspaper and I just like freaked out. I was like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
that's the guy that I saw. And then I like he's like, what are you talking about? And I told him and he was like, are you fucking serious?
I mean,
Like,
that's
yeah,
literally
I am
hitting close
serious.
to home.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. So, I mean, it sucks because I don't know. I mean, like, if he was spying on her all the time,
Yeah.
I mean, I know obviously you don't automatic or most people don't automatically think like, oh, well, this guy's gonna kill one of us, or you
Right.
know what I mean? This guy's gonna kill my kid, or you know what I mean? But I don't know. Like, if that was happening, I would have called the police on many occasions, probably.
I would have probably skinned him alive.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I'd be the one that ended up in jail, honestly.
it's just crazy. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he ended up admitting to it, but like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if like she was going somewhere or if she was, who knows, like taking the garbage
Right, did
out or
he abduct
something.
her? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, he did abduct her, kind of. I mean, I don't know where he strangled her, but I
Yeah.
just know that um, like
Moved
dragged
her
her body
body. Yeah.
through backyards and then hid her in those bushes, which I mean, it's just crazy. It's like, why would you hide this girl's body? Not that I'm, trying to, give tips on where to hide a body, but like, why would you hide this girl's body like 3 or 4 houses away from her house, you know?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking earlier. It's almost in a sense like he wanted to be caught. I mean,
Yeah,
he didn't try very hard at all to conceal her body.
yeah. And
He
also, I mean, I guess maybe like the mental illness thing played a factor. Like maybe it just um, kind of happened out of nowhere, or like, you know what I mean? Like maybe he wasn't planning on that, but it just happened, and then
Yeah.
like that was his mind telling him like, oh, this is a good spot, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or who
Yeah.
knows, maybe he was planning on going back one night and like taking her somewhere else.
Right.
But I don't know, because I don't think he had a car. Because I remember other people saying that they would see him ride his bike at night.
I was gonna say he certainly had a bicycle.
Yeah. Oh my God,
That's
I will never forget like his face in the light in the car light.
mm,
Oh,
creeper.
I know. But yeah, that's mine.
I'm not familiar with that case.
If you look it up, it's like there's a couple of pieces here and there,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There's nothing like there's not a real story about it.
Yeah.
And you know another thing, which I was just talking about this with someone the other day, and I feel like maybe we talked about this. I don't remember if it was on our show or what, but you know how people will always say like, "Oh, all the crazy shit happens in Florida."
Yeah.
You know, because like, or what? Where else is it? Like California and Texas, I think. Um, the reason that you see all these crazy, you know, crimes or whatever going on in Florida is because like someplace like New York, a lot of things you can't look up. And
Yeah,
that's
it gets
because,
buried
well, yeah, but there's
and it's not
also,
released.
it's not, there's a law
Yeah.
that will kind of like, just lock records. And for instance, like if you were to do a background check on someone in New York and they were arrested, like it might not show up, or it probably won't show up.
Uh-huh.
But same thing
Florida
with
doesn't
like,
have that.
no, no, not at
Everything can
all.
be released.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like you could have had like a traffic violation from like when you were 16 and now you're like 43 and somebody could find that. You know what I mean? It's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's the reason why it's always
So
like,
much crazy shit happens from Florida. It's just because it all makes it to the news.
right, exactly.
It
And it
happens everywhere,
stays
but
and it stays available.
yeah, there is a steady flow of craziness
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Whereas like I mean and it's also because I mean, you know how much crazy shit happens in New York City,
Yeah,
but I mean you don't hear
don't
too much
ever
about
hear
it.
of it. No, no.
Yeah. Unless it's
Same
like
thing with the
something
rich
really big.
areas too, like the wealthy areas. They get all that stuff just swept under the rug because they don't want to bring their property values down. Like it's just fucking crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I just totally forgot what I was gonna say. No, I was gonna say, you know, I guess if it's something really big like Amy Fisher or like
Yeah,
Son of Sam,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, or who's the guy from East Meadow? Joel Rifkin.
yeah,
Stuff like that. Obviously, you can find out those are like big, big cases.
yeah.
But I mean, something like this, I was shocked that I couldn't find. I mean, like I said, it was just like little newspapers, and it was mostly just about, at Stephen Manolis's trial, he was arrested for uh, strangling and hiding the body of 16-year-old Kristen Scott. Like that's really it. Like there wasn't.
Yeah. It was like a blurb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very short news articles, and like I said, even the one where they had it, like, you can't find his picture.
That's so
There's
weird.
no mugshot or anything.
Very strange.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
But I think that a lot of it is that way on Long Island or in New
Yeah.
York, you
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Yeah.
like there was the one, I think it was New York where the nanny killed the two kids.
Oh, I think, yeah, I think that was in the city, I want to
Yeah.
say.
But
Yeah.
I mean, not many people know about that. It was like probably
No.
report. I mean, I'm sure, I know it was reported on when it happened, but I remember because I read a book based on that and I looked something up on YouTube and the only thing I could find was like the parents of the kids that were killed. Or no, I think one was killed and the other one did survive. But the parents, I could be wrong about that. It's just like what is that called when they let like the victims' families speak to the,
Oh, in court.
yeah, I don't
Oh
know what they
God.
call that.
Impact statements or something?
Maybe. I don't know. I but yeah, like that's the only thing that I found like even on YouTube. It was just
Wow.
like an impact statement from the mom. I
Wow.
think maybe the dad, but I don't remember. So it's just crazy. It's like I don't get it. And I mean especially back in the day when New
It is
York
an
was like
impact statement. I Googled it. Sorry.
nice, nice. See, I didn't know that at all. But even like back in the day when New York was like dirty as hell,
Yeah.
like you remember you'd go in the city when you were a kid and every block it would be like peep show, peep show, peep show.
Oh, yeah.
And then I mean that got all swept away, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's really weird and it's kind of like creepy too that you don't know the shit that happens near you.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely. You know.
all right guys, well on that note, I think we're going to get going. And again, thanks for watching. For those of you who are seeing our faces, and for those of you who are for those of you who are listening, thank you also.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out our website, forihavesinpod.com, our Patreon if you want to support us on there.
Subscribe.
Yeah, support us. You get some really cool, extras. We actually even have stickers right now, and eventually we'll do like, shirts and mugs and stuff like that. But you also get, there's different tiers. You also get, first listen before anyone else, before it goes on all of our main platforms. You can pick a couple of cases that you want us to cover. Um, what else? I can't remember offhand, but there's just a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, stay
Stay
safe.
safe, wash
Wash
your
your hands.
hands, and don't
Don't
kill your
kill your
family.
family. All right,
Bye,
sinners.
sinners.
Bye.